There you go. Good evening, everyone. We are concluding Emir Hashem tonight, Torah 27, of a little synopsis of what this Torah is about, and then B'ezrat Hashem will wrap it up. The Torah starts with Rabbeinu saying that it is incumbent on every person to pull everybody together to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu jointly together, and everybody should throw away the idols of gods and silver, and they will just daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu alone. And this kind of situation can happen, or it happens commensurately with the kind of peace that exists in the generation. Because when there's peace, people don't try to win over one another, and because Rabbeinu says in Sefer HaMidos, the midah of victory cannot stand the midah of truth, because you want to win. So you want to win, you'll catch your adversary in every little pips, whatever. So when there's peace between people, so people can talk to one another because they realize the other person is my friend, and he wants what's good for me. So what he's telling me is for my own benefit. And then you listen to your friend, you're not trying to win an argument with him. So people are like helping each other to investigate what the truth is. And once they're there, they're open to suggestions as to, what are the kind of problems that you run into in Avodas Hashem, to help each other, and so forth and so on. Rabbeinu says that it is not possible to come to a state of shalom before a person achieves something which is called hadras panim. It's beaming grandeur, illuminating of the countenance of the panim. And the way to come to that, hadras panim, is as we learn later, he's talking about Shmiras Habris. The way to get to hadras panim that brings about the shalom is by learning Torah and darshaning the Torah with the 13 midos, 13 codes with which the Torah is being nidrush. You sort of like mine the Torah for the various halachas that it includes. And the more a person is able to polish his chachma with darshaning the 13 midos, this something that clears out, purifies the voice of a person. And the voice of a person is, we spoke about it quite a few times, that there's the dibur, there's the voice. The dibur enunciates, and the raw material which the dibur is built of is the voice. The voice is a much higher bechina. It's still undifferentiated. It is the mouth that differentiates it through the use of the 5 tools of the mouth. As it says, Zoken, we have the 13 meters Shaton Josh's. They are the lower reflection of the 13 meters Sharachamim, which is Atiko Kadisha. This is the din of Zoken. This is the 13 rectification of the Zokon, of the beard. The Zoken, Zoken ze kona chokhma. He acquired chokhma. This is somebody who's called Zoken. Doesn't matter what his age is. We're saying in Seder Pesach, we're saying about Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, we say, I am Keven Shivim Shana. I'm like as if I'm 70 years old, and I wasn't Zoiche, to hear the reason why it says Mitzrayim says in that nights until Ben Zoma darshaned it and said what the reason is. So Chazal says, what do you mean Keven Shivim? Like somebody is 70 years old. So they said that he was appointed. He was actually very young. I think it was like 18 but he was appointed instead of Rabban Gamliel to be the Rosh Sanhedrin, because Rabban Gamliel has humiliated Rabbi Yeshua, and so they removed him from his office and they appointed Rabbi Elazar ben Hanania. But Rabbi Elazar ben Hanania, he said that he's not fit, to be the Nos. I mean, he's so young. So Mishamayim they made a nest, and he had 13 strips of white hair in his beard. And it says, only Kevin, I look as if I'm 70 years old. I'm not. According to the way he was darshan the Torah, he was deemed the right candidate to be the Nasi, to be the president, to be to hold the high madrega, according to the polishing of his mind in Limud Torah. So he was zoiche to 13 rows of white hair in his beard, is because that's the 13 midos shirachim. This is the parallel bechina from up to down. And there is also an extra benefit that when the kona, when the thing that produces the voice is pure, the voice is pure, Kadosh Baruch Hu hears whatever a person is saying, even without, if a person is in trouble and he just calls out to Kadosh Baruch Hu, because his voice is so purified, Kadosh Baruch Hu already delivers him from whoever it is that is causing him trouble. And so the only way that that you can get to a respondent is through Shmiras HaBris. This is a must, because otherwise this is not peace. This is the opposite. To understand this, there is an inyan of in relationship, that which the Olam calls love, we call kores, the punishment of kores. The reason for it is because what they call love is not giving, it's taking. A person wants to give himself pleasure, so he uses somebody else for that. The real meaning of love, of kedusha, is fakir, is giving, withholding one's, the use of somebody else for my pleasure, but fakir, allowing it, giving it as a gift to somebody else. There's nothing which is more symbolically That's just symbolically, but the Maisa signifies that particular state of being, then Shmiras Habris. This is the ultimate level. That if you're totally faithful, totally ne'eman, this is the inner, and then a person is zochet to adras panim. The thing is that true peace is not when I want to use you and you want to use me. The true peace is when I want to enable you and you want to enable me. In other words, you want what's good for me and I want what's good for you. This is the meaning of true peace. So true peace is about giving, it's not about taking. Shmiras Habris is about giving. The Hapach Shmiras Habris is about taking. It's about, all I carry is satisfying my desires and my taivas. And what about you? Well, you can go and jump in the lake, kind of. Anyhow, so as we have said this, Rabbeinu says that the shalom, the true shalom, as opposed to false shalom, is one that comes enveloped in a bitter pill. Derech HaShalom is slabish b'dvorim morim, in bitter things. It is, person, couples, families go through various things during their lives. And it is the harder tests that usually result in a stronger bond within a family. You can say, as they say, anything that doesn't break you makes you stronger, kind of thing. The derech of a shalom is a mislabish for dvorim morim. We had a whole talk about the meaning of dvorim morim, the merirus, and so forth and so on, and how the Kadosh Baruch Hu has rachmanas on us, and He doesn't give us more bitterness, chas v'chalila, than we can handle. And in order to, but the refuah is to come in a bitter elixir. So what do we do with the rest of the Kadosh Baruch Hu? Just strikes him off the record. Just gives you a little bit. Nothing, is very particular to force down this Indian not to force down, to emphasize. The Indian is that you're supposed to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save you from all the Yisurim. Everyone says it in the surface of the Torahs at the end. You're supposed to daven HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Bechlal save you from all Yisurim. And it says, and even those that you can stand, even those not. It says, in the little, that there's an absolute must. You ask Kadosh Baruch Hu to give me the koyach to to accept it b'simcha and be'ahava. So we had a little shmooze about that. That when a person is younger, and the world feels like it's his oyster, and he cannot do absolutely everything, get away with everything. That the inina, the kesher, the zikaron, the memory of Olam Haba is to remember that there's judgment. That everything the person does is going to be judged upon. But when a person gets older, and a little cricks here, and a little pain in his bones here and there, whatever, all kinds of things that he goes through, it is important the memory of Olam Haba needs to include a greater portion of remembering that Yisurim and Gehenim Chas v'Chalila is not the only thing. Yes, there is, and if somebody doesn't pay attention to it, then there's literally hell to pay. But there is Gan Eden, and everything is a preparatory. Even the Yisurim and everything, even Gehenna, everything is there is Gan Eden. And if I go, whatever it is I go through, you go there, you go through, and it's bitter. Remember, there is Gan Eden. It's not just Gehenna, there's also Gan Eden. Olam Haba includes Gan Eden, and in fact, that is the ultimate goal. It says that the shalom is the ultimate refuah, because it says it's physically, financially, and Torah wise. It says physically, the body is made out of 4 elements. When they are carefully balanced, a person is healthy. When the balance gets ruffled, that's when a person gets sick. Shalom means that all the elements live, together one another. One doesn't try to overcome another or climb over the other. So this is the union of Pchinas Shalom, where the Shalom gives physical health. When it comes, to money, it says we have it when a person gives tzedakah, that guards his money, that produces Shalom. When a person doesn't give tzedakah, it eats up his money. Shalom terasa, Rabbeinu says, that is Shalom b'terasa. A person has Shalom in his Torah, means that there's no kashas. I understand. So the thing is that there is, a very specific pleasure of asking kashas, in the Torah, but ultimately the main thing is to understand what the Torah is saying. When a person has kashas, that means that there are certain avenues in his mind that are still plugged up. So you need to work at it. You need to push. You need to work hard until you understand it. But kashas are not source of pride. Somebody actually asked the Chafetz Chaim, why didn't he write a book of all the things, all the kashas that he, Lemasa, wasn't able to solve? So the Chafetz Chaim said, anything that I could not understand is a testimony to my shortcomings. Why should I make a whole sefer out of my shortcomings? So when a person has no kashas, then everything is okay. You understand what's going on, and you can move further. So through tikkun abris, shmiras abris, a person zecher to drusha Torah, bi'uri Torah. You understand the Torah. The Torah is smooth, it's clear. You zecher to purify your song, your melody, your voice, and you zecher to shalom. That means shalom in physical shalom, financial shalom, and spiritual shalom. Then people speak to one another from the tachlis, and they get together and to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shechem Echad. And this now, Rabbeinu explains how this entire very abstract structure is included in this question and answer, which looks totally arbitrary, between the sages of Athens and Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, that they asked him. You say they asked a chick that dies while still in its egg, from where does its spirit leave? I mean, the egg is closed. So his answer was, it leaves the same way it entered. When you look at it, it's like, what is this? What's going on here? So now Rabbeinu explains what is hidden in this seemingly, non sequitur kind of give and take. Ze perish. This is what is intrinsic in the question of Sabbath Be'atuna, and what the B'Shua answered them. Ritzitza. Ritzitza is the Aramaic word for a chick, but ritzitza also means pchinas konerotzutz. These are the goyim. This is the akum. When the Navi tells Malach Yisrael, you cut a pact with the king of Egypt. At the time, that was the United States of America, um, the biggest power in the region, and you counted them to save you from the Babylonians. We know how that ended. So Yirmiyahu says you leaning on Pharaoh is mishenes konarotzutz. It's a staff of a split reed. What happens is that when you press on it, not only doesn't give you support, actually splits and stabs you in your hand. And that split and broken up reed or bamboo, whatever you want to call it, is called a kone rotzutz, a smashed up kone or reed. Shamakum, these are the akum. You rest. You're counting on a goy to save you. Please. They are very far from the Bechina of Zokin. Zekon HaChochma, Hodrasponim. They are the Dvekim Demikonarotzes. It's the young men who write the music, who do the art, who play the sports, who lay the lay of the land of what actually matters and what's considered cool and everything. This is Mishenes Konarotzes. It's the opposite of Zokin, which is Zikno. This is Zekon HaChochma, experience, and so forth and so on. This is, scold, push away the chayas kana, the kana, which is an animal, which is the goyim, which are connected to the kana rotzutz. The maz mevuse, in other words, to eradicate their prayers and their supplications. How do you actually cause the goyim to stop worshiping idols and asking and begging idols to help them and call them to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu? How do you do that? So, where does the spirit goes out? This kind of aspect, having this kind of peace that will enable everybody to call out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the only way you can do it is through the rectification of the Osbris Kodesh. So, and this is called Ruach. Why is it called Ruach? What it says in Sefer Yeshua, V'lo kama od ruach be'ish. This is the Maaseh with the Meraglim. The first Yeshua sent the Meraglim to Israel, and they came to the house of Rachav, who at that particular time was indulged she was a concubine, whatever it is, the most famous one in the land. And she said to him, everybody was frightened. Nobody was able, to have any type of sniuf. She says, "Velo kama od ruach be'ish," and they didn't, there was no standing up of any ruach of tavas niyov in any person. So you see, the ruach is it talks about this union of shmir sabris. It did have ruach of tavas niyov. So you see that the union of bris is called ruach. How does the ruach, the gamma bris, how do you get it out from the klipos that it fell? People fall, and this is the most common avera there is. How do you get out of it? The olam behind the all. In a bezesha nichnas baruach. I know bezesha is baruach shtus. This is the same place where it came in. What does it mean? It says at the very same place where the spirit of nonsense, of craziness comes into a person. In other words, thoughts of of znos, of harlotry, of impurity. When those thoughts come up, that's the place where you make the tikkun abris. A thought comes up, a fantasy comes up, and you hold it off, and you refuse to think about it. You refuse to entertain, this kind of filthy fantasies. This is how you elevate the nitzotzes akdusha that fell through Pgam Bris. The same, behind the al, when a spirit of folly, of thinking of znus come into a person, and you break your taiva, you don't hold on to it, you break it and you go on. With this, you elevate, you rescue the holy sparks of Gambris that fell before through one's meisim. This is exactly, you're correcting exactly where when a person is correcting exactly where he damaged. So this is a very, very important nakuda. So when a person sees that there's suddenly a whole flood of really thoughts that come into his head. I mean, who knows? It's just between me and me kind of thing. Yeah. It says, and a person says, like, wow, I can't believe this. I thought it was already left behind me. So Rabbeinu tells you, don't get discouraged. Adrabah, this kind of filthy thoughts that are coming into your head, that's your tikkun. That's your tshuva. It is when these thoughts are coming into your head and you overcome them. Overcome is just stop. I'm not willing to go along with this. I'm not going weiter. That's it. Just okay, we got there and that's it. This is the main tshuva. This is how a person zocher to tikkun abris. Mimele is zocher to darshan the Torah. It comes from Hadras Parim, the shining of the continents, and he's zocher that his voice is being purified. He's zocher to shalom, and he's able to bring the entire world to avodas Hashem. And he says, "Zkeini mishar shavasu bachurim iniganosam." When a person is not zocher to, when it's kenim shavas, a person is not zocher to pinas zoken, to pinas chochmei amitis, then he's not zocher to neginosam. Your melody is not being purified, and the problems that the person encounters when he's a bocher, when he's young, does not get a tikkun, chas v'chalila. And this is up to here is L'shon Rabbeinu Zal. There's a loy sofa. When they are in trouble, HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears their singing, their song. So Rabbeinu says, Al shmias koiloi, by merely hearing a person's voice, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees who is the one, which nation is striking, is causing distress. That person, which akum, which nation is distressing us? And Rabbeinu added at that point and says like this: this is why when chas v'sholom there is some kind of a decree to Am Yisrael from any kind of a goy, it is very efficacious, it's very effective to sing the melody of that nation. We probably have to start singing Arab songs. I don't know, or Iranian melodies. I don't know. Anybody knows any Iranian melodies? Russia, ta 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 ta. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Syrian melodies, Palestinian melodies. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu hear rinosam, their melody. And when you're singing their melody, the Baruch says, them, I'm going to take care of them. In other words, the Rina, the Nigun of that particular Goisha nation that is giving you trouble, Chas v'shalom. With this, Be'ezrat Hashem, we have concluded going over Torah 27, and Be'ezrat Hashem, next week, B'li Neder, should all be Zeicha, to start in Hashem a new Maimer of Torah 28. Tomorrow night in Hashem, we are learning in Besmedrash Breslev in Hashem, and I don't remember. Did we conclude Torah 38? I don't remember. Anyhow, we'll find out tomorrow. The problem is with it, the connection with Zoom from the Besmedrash is very spotty. So sometimes you get disconnected in the middle. So I don't know. It used to be that it wasn't a problem before, but now it is. So as a result, the recordings are not complete, and so we'll try tomorrow. We'll see what. But the best thing, if you can, is actually to come to be there in person between 8 and 9, and we're going to finish Hashem at 9 o'clock, on the dot, because I have to run. I have a chavrusa later on, so I promise not to schlep it. But it's B'ezrat Hashem, kol tov, hatzlacha b'kol ha'inyan.